All right. So today I want to talk to you about how to how to live a happy life. I think that's one of the main things that I feel that we have a hard time doing because all the things that we have to do in our lives, and we really forget in terms of how to uh, actually to live a happy life that can bring continuous growth and continuous happiness, and make sure that everybody around us are fully taken care of. So one of the things that I realize that we fail to have a happy life is that we really don't know how to maximize our current moment. And what I mean by maximize our current moment is that we continually, when we're living, we're living in the present. Our mind continuously travels to certain certain stories that we have created for ourselves, and these stories is so engaging. Sometimes we don't know, what parts of the story is actually important for us, or how these stories or how these stories we create for ourselves, we associate emotions to. And when we associate when we have stories and emotion interconnected together, we have sometimes hard time living in the present moment because our stories are so strong and so engaging. We actually fail to live in the moment. And I don't believe there's anything wrong with these stories per se. I think it's only becomes harmful to you when you don't pay attention to these stories. And if these stories sometimes can be very limiting to you and cause you to be living in a very victimized mindset where you feel like you don't have control over your current moment and what you do day by day. What I want to talk to you about today is that being able to be happy is not about setting a goal in the future and then continually go there and then imagining ourselves be happy in that future moment. It's about living in a way that we can bring flow like state mean is where you kind of lose track of your time. You lose track of your time, and you just completely engage in that moment. And I can tell you, when I play certain games, when I when I watch basketball, or when I even being a nerd, when I was doing certain exams, I would go to that flow state, right? So I can tell you, I truly enjoyed this moment. So what I want you to offer another perspective where instead of trying to balance your life or balance your current moment or keep things even, try to maximize your current moment. And what I mean by that is essentially, when you're living, day by day or moment by moment, see out of the all of the options you have in your life, what options or what choice that you can do right now to keep yourself happy or maximize your happiness. Like right now, today I was, I was hanging out with my friend Sujin, and we went to go for a run. I didn't plan to go for a run, but the moment came to me, and then I asked myself, do I want to do that? Would that make me happy? My body and my mind's like, yeah, let's do it, let's go and go for a run. And then I maximize the moment there. I didn't plan for this, I didn't look to do anything else. I maximize that moment. And it's the same thing, when you're living in your life, from the day, from the all throughout the day, take a look at 24 hours. How much of that did you live in your control, or the choices that you want to make? And out of that 24 hours, you've probably been up for 16, because 8 hours, you have no choice but sleep. In that 16 hour, how much of the choices were you under control over? And how much of it that you weren't? And if you're especially going to a job that you don't want to go to, you can see a lot of the actions or a lot of the days comprising of things you don't want to do. So you can see how when you finish that work, when you come home, you almost will feel like you have no control over your life. And that's what I mean. The story, you will create a story now saying that, what, I have no control over my life. I had to do this. Now I have to come home and get rid of my tiredness and cook food and all these things that you're thinking about. But what I'm saying is that take a little bit step back. When you're going to work, understand the reason you're going to work is you have these conditions that obligations and contracts that you promise for other people. And even when you're going into those modes, understand, are you able to give your best in these moments? If you're not, well, then I'm telling you, you might need to reevaluate some of the things you do in your life. But rather than completely resetting your life or anything like that, I tell you to take a more, rather than taking a revolutionary aspect to your life, rather than take a evolutionary aspect where you try to chisel changes into your life, rather than take very drastic, very disharmonious changes. And the best way to do that is actually become more harmonious with yourself. And this is why I always talk about why being compassionate towards yourself and being kind to yourself and kind to others is so important. Because if you don't have training, if you haven't trained your own mind to find ways to be harmonious, how are you gonna continue to do that the rest of your life? Or how are you gonna help somebody else become harmonious in their life? And that's another issue that I see, that you want to help people. Much of you want to help people and bring the greatest good for the other. But understand, what is that help represent? Are you trying to help to somebody to make them more like you? I mean, if you don't if you have a lot of disharmony in your life, maybe you shouldn't be helping them, right? Only what I say is that if you truly want to help somebody, first find a way to bring harmony to yourself. And once you bring that harmony to yourself, then it's almost give you an insight what you need to give it to another person. And this is one of the main things that I'm a big proponent of. And this is one of the things that when I started to harmonize my life, I started to see specific techniques that was able to give it to other people that would help them harmonize their life. So what I started to do, I started to talk about stories before. My story about my life is very harmonious now. And because it's so harmonious, I'm allowed, it's almost like my mind gives me the ability to live in the moment and, maximize the moment and live in a way that brings me happiness. I can tell you some of the, you might say that, I have a very, very boring life, some of the things based on some of the things I will be saying, but it's what I love to do. So one of the things I do is I work from home now. But most of the day I spend, time reading and then playing games and playing basketball. But these are the things I love to do. Because I'm continually doing things I love to do, I'm able to bring more and more harmony to myself. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you should stop going to work or not look for work or do anything else. Or I'm not even saying that you shouldn't be depressed or bring anxiety to yourself. These are great options that you can do and play around with. But there's also another beautiful option called bringing harmony to yourself and living and maximizing the current moment. And that's one of the main things I feel these Eastern cultures or Western culture, what people think what Eastern culture is saying. When you try to bring balance or bring peace, I don't see peace as calming yourself and not doing anything. I'm talking about bringing peace regardless of what you do. That involves going to war and keeping your mind peace and harmony and seeing what are the greatest you can do to protect both parties on the war. Like not just your side, but how do you make sure that you minimize the amount of people eventually will suffer? Same thing when you go to an exam. How do you keep that inner peace regardless of what you do, not when you're relaxing? And I feel that one of the main reasons I was able to do this is actually I started to master my current moment. I think that's something that I really want you to understand and learn about more, is that how do you get better control of that moment by moment? How do you make sure that you have how do you see there's a lot of options that are available for you in the current moment? And that's something I personally do, is that it's hard for me to it's hard for somebody to take me off my game. For example, if somebody comes and tells me, "Do, like, you have to do this right away," it's a must. Rather than me springing into action, I was like, okay, what are we doing? Why are we doing this? It might be an emergency, but the thing is, how do I know that that person is not panicking unnecessarily and going to cause more harm? And I've seen many people, when their stories are emotionally oriented, they cause and make you want to take action when it's not good for them, and it causes you to take action that you never want to take to begin with. So that's what I'm trying to get at, is that if you learn to harmonize the current moment and try to maximize by taking more and more action that make you a little bit more happy, your mind will not make you helpless. And then that's another aspect that this way of looking that offer you, is that your mind, you need to find a way that your mind does not make you helpless. Because I've seen situations where when things didn't go my way, I would blame myself, like, why are you like this? You're not good enough. Nobody loves you, nobody cares about you, and things like that. So that kind of feelings, that kind of emotions get kicked in when you have jeopardized your own mind and made it feel like it's nothing. What you need to realize is that when you're going through these emotional changes, or depression or anxiety or whatever, you need to understand it's coming from as a byproduct of not keeping your mind in a harmonious state. That means you have not been a good teacher or a guider to your own mind. You have given its full right and access to all the faculties, all the environment that he has, and now he has created a self-created story in order for you to live within in that arena. And now when you're trying to take control, you will see that your habits, your preferences, and the story, the emotional story that I referred to you before, will kick in. And because it kicks in, you feel like, again, you have no control. So that's what I'm saying, is flip your mind a little bit, and then rather than always telling and asking what your mind want to do, ask yourself, what do you truly want to do in that current moment, rather than getting entrapped by all the obligations and things like that. Do you want to go for a walk? Do you want to read a book? Do you want to talk to your friend? Do you want to play basketball? What's the maximum happiness? Which actions what would bring maximum happiness to you? Do those. Do that. Start with doing that for 30 minutes, doing that for 1 hour. That means in that 1 hour or 30 minutes, you shouldn't be thinking about your external world, or you shouldn't be thinking about your future or past. It's okay if these thoughts come in and kind of come into your mind and you start to think about them. All you have to do at that point is just accept them. These are my thoughts. Cool. I do not wish to have these right now. I'd rather play the game or play basketball, talk to my friend, and give my best. That means maximizing your effort as well. So what I mean by maximizing the moment, now in that moment, maximize your effort. So when you're playing a game, put your best to it. Don't think about, I'm going to get tired if I played this game too much or whatever. And the same thing with me. Like when I'm helping another person, I don't think about, other things. All I'm doing at that point, everything, all the best I have, all the best information that's in my mind, I want to give it away at that point. And that's what I'm talking about. It's living in the moment, maximizing the moment. It's not about holding back because you need to go to work tomorrow and you shouldn't be telling too much, or when you're helping a colleague, you think you shouldn't tell them too much. Tell them everything that will be benefiting them. Because I always talk about this, where you need to, if you might not see it that way, and that's all completely fine. I truly see when I talk to another person, that's someone like me on the other side. So, if that's someone like me on the other side, why wouldn't I give my best? Because I've been in situations where I wish there was a mentor for me, or there was somebody to guide me. And till recently, I have felt that way. And sometimes you don't have them, right? You don't have that guiding force, or you don't have that mentor. So what do you do then? Well, wouldn't it be better if your own mind was your own guiding force, and if your mind was your own teacher? So help your teacher to help you maximize your moment more and bring more harmony to yourself, and help you live a more happier life. That's all I have.